There was a time where almost every game you bought came with the same feature built in. You can hand a second controller over to your friend, your brother, your dad, whoever was in the room with you, and you could play a game together on the same screen in the same room. It wasn't even something you thought about, it was just something that was there. Halo, GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Borderlands. If you bought a game in the 2000s, there was a good chance that local co-op was just part of that package. And then somewhere along the way, it disappeared. Nowadays, if you want to play a game with someone who's sitting on the couch next to you, your options are very limited. Not gone, but very limited. Most of the biggest games in the world don't even consider it anymore. So what happened? Why did the thing that made gaming feel social slowly fade out? Let's talk about it. To understand why local co-op died, you have to first understand just how big it was in the first place. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, multiplayer gaming basically meant local play. Online play existed, but it was very unreliable, it was slow, and it was a pain to set up. And most people didn't even have broadband at the time. If you wanted to play a game with someone, they had to be physically in the room with you. So developers built around that issue. Split screen wasn't a bonus feature, it was the feature. GoldenEye 007 on the N64 back in 1997 turned the multiplayer shooter genre into a couch experience. By the time Halo 2 came out in 2004, 4-player split screen became something that people genuinely planned their weekends around. And it wasn't just shooters. Mario Kart, Smash Bros, Gears of War, local co-op was woven into the DNA of gaming. Then a few things changed at the same time, and the combination of those things is what killed local co-op. The first thing that changed was the internet. By the late 2000s, broadband had reached most homes. Xbox Live had launched, PlayStation Network came shortly after. Suddenly, you didn't need your friend next to you to be able to play games with them. They could be on the other side of the country, or even the other side of the world, and you could still play whatever game you want. And honestly, it was incredible. The ability to play with anyone, anywhere, was an incredible leap forward. The experience was undeniable. But here's the thing. Once online multiplayer became an option, developers started leaning into that more and more, and the more they leaned into that, the less viable local co-op became. It went from being a core feature to an optional one, to entirely disappearing from games. The second thing that changed was graphics. Modern games are very visually demanding. Open worlds, high resolution textures, ray tracing, all of that comes with a serious processing cost. And the problem with split screen is that it asks the console to render all of that twice at the same time. 2 cameras, 2 environments, 2 sets of lighting running on the same hardware at the same time. This presented a dilemma for a lot of developers. Either dial back on the graphics to make split screen work somehow, or entirely drop split screen from the game and focus on making the game look as good as possible. Local co-op has a big issue that's hard to ignore from a business standpoint. If 2 people are playing the same game on the same console, on the same screen, then they only really need 1 copy of the game. 2 players, 1 game sold. But online multiplayer, both players need a copy of the game, they both need a console, and they both need either Xbox Live or PlayStation Network subscription to be able to play together. That's 2 sales instead of 1, 2 subscriptions, potentially 2 sets of microtransaction sales, 2 sets of battle passes. You get the idea. From a purely business perspective, the maths just doesn't work out in favor of local co-op. And the bigger the studio is, the more that matters to them. Just to give you an idea of how steep the drop has been, a study looked at the top games of 2021 to see how many games included local co-op, and only 11% of those games had any kind of couch play local co-op split screen. Compare that to the early 2000s when local co-op was a standard. That is a huge drop. Franchises like Call of Duty and games like Halo Infinite have completely abandoned the local co-op meta. And these aren't small games, these are some of the biggest franchises in the industry. Ones that at one point defined local co-op and couch play, and now they're walking away from it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Local co-op isn't completely gone, it's just moved. It's moved to 2 places. Indie developers and Hazelight Studios. Indie developers have basically picked up the torch that the AAA developers have dropped. Games like Overcooked, Castle Crashers, Cuphead, these are all games built around the idea of playing with a friend who's next to you, and they all do it fairly well. And then there's Hazelight Studios, the Swedish studio behind games like It Takes Two, A Way Out, and Split Fiction. They're doing something that the rest of the industry isn't. They make games that you literally cannot play alone. Co-op is the only option. For example, It Takes Two, that won Game of the Year in 2021, sold over 30 million copies, and its follow-up, Split Fiction, sold 1 million copies in 2 days, and up until now it has sold 7 million copies. Those aren't small numbers, those are blockbuster numbers, and they're proving something that the bigger studios just don't seem to understand anymore. There is a huge demand for local co-op games. It just hasn't been served properly in the recent years. And still, even with the indie developers and Hazelight Studios keeping it alive, something has been lost. Local co-op was never just about a feature on the back of a box. It was something much deeper than that. It was about sitting next to someone, playing the same game, sharing the same screen, reacting at the same time, getting frustrated together, laughing, trash talking. There's a kind of social connection that you get from local co-op games that online games just can't replicate. And as gaming has grown into that massive industry, optimized for engagement, revenue, graphical fidelity, that quiet communal thing has slowly slipped away. So no, local co-op isn't completely dead, but that era where you could get a game and local co-op was just expected, that era is completely gone, and it's probably not coming back. If you've got the itch to play some of the local co-op classics that we mentioned in this video, or any other local co-op that you remember playing, we made a video specifically for you. We have a video on this channel about Parsec. We walk you through how to set it up completely from start to finish so you can enjoy some of those old games. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any recommendations for future videos, let us know in the comments. If you have a local co-op game that you like or you remember playing with your friends, tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Leave a like, leave a comment, and thank you for watching.